Oh yes, this one, episode 5, the ninth.
This is the best one.
So he's off the gate. He's just like, it's the best one. This one right here. But all right, the 9th Jedi. So many generations after the Jedi Order became mostly extinct, is it Margrave, Juro?
Margrave, I think.
Margrave
Juro, the Jedi ruler of the planet High Islan, invites 7 masterless Jedi to his aerial temple in order to receive lightsabers, whose design has been lost to time. Juro's droid gifts the first lightsaber to a young Jedi named Ethan, the youngest of the 7, as proof, promising the other Jedi that they will receive theirs once they are completed. On the planet's surface, hunters working for the Sith capture the sabersmith, Lazima. Lazima's daughter, Kara, who is also force sensitive, escapes with the finished lightsabers and presents them to the Jedi when she gets to the aerial temple. However, the 6 Jedi accompanying Ethan reveal themselves to be Sith imposters who killed the Jedi invited by Juro and came posing as them in order to murder Juro as well. So Juro, Ethan and Kara fight them and kill the 5 Sith, but spare the 6th, Homan, who was revealed to be an old friend of Juro's, and like he has a mixture of light and dark. We'll talk about his purple lightsaber stuff when we get there, but because he's been corrupted by the dark side, but now he's turned to the light. Ethan, Kara, and Homan join Juro's new Jedi Order to prepare to rescue Lazima, who is being held on a Sith-controlled planet. This episode is awesome. This episode is great. Oh my gosh, so cool. I like the twists and turns in this episode because I did not see it coming that those Jedi were Sith imposters. They did a really good job not alluding to it at all. We were just assuming, okay, they're just regular Jedis and they're waiting. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, there's not really a major threat here, is there? I mean, there's the bounty hunter trying to hunt her down with Zeph, and then they gets captured, but like there's not really like a major threat in this. And then revealed those Sith imposters. Oh my god, that was nuts. That was crazy. What I also liked, once again, they're doing their own creative liberties when it comes to forging of lightsabers. So in this, when they're creating the lightsabers, when it ignites, like the lightsaber gives you a color based on how much light and how much dark you have, or how force sensitive you are.
It's the alignment to the force. It's like what you're aligned with.
Exactly. So I thought that was really interesting, especially with Kara, who's force sensitive but is not a Jedi yet. Like when she ignites a lightsaber, it's black. But then when she gets more powerful, when she fights the Sith imposters, then it turns into, was it blue?
I think it's blue or green. I think it's not black. It's gray. It's like
it was green.
It was green. Okay, it was green.
For her lightsaber, yeah.
Okay.
It's green, but it starts off clear. Like it's not even black. It's like a gray, clearish color.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it starts off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it starts. And then.
Go ahead.
Yeah. It also wasn't it like almost longer too. It was like powerful.
Well, yeah, they can change the size of the lightsabers as well. They can change the size of the lightsabers.
The way they did lightsabers in this was so cool. They I'm upset that they never implemented something like this in canon. It's such a cool storytelling device.
I was gonna say like this is something that they could expand in future Star Wars canon, because I love the idea of like the color of your lightsaber connects with like the soul that you embody.
Yeah, like it's not even just the color.
Like that screams Star Wars.
Right. Not even the color. Like it's the length too. Like you could be a 5'6" dude wielding like a blue lightsaber that's like double your size because that's just your connection.
Literally, it was it's the most. It was so. I was like this. Why Star Wars has worked like this without explaining it? Because I'm like, why does every Sith have a red lightsaber? Like, why wouldn't they pick another color to deceive people even? because
or
it's like
making
it's just,
crystals bleed now. Like, why do they gotta make the crystals bleed? Like, this seems so much simpler.
Well, like this implies that like there's not even a need for crystals, which is like great. It's like entirely powered by like your connection to the Force.
I think they say it's a special kyber crystal, which that again.
Okay.
It keeps that part of the lore in that there are still kyber crystals, but the crystals are what makes them special is that they reflect your nature. I was like, that's cool.
Well, plus it's reflected in how the blade comes out. Like, you know, like Margrave with like his green lightsaber with like the little like handguard thing.
Yep. I was like,
yeah.
Why? Well, also too, let's talk about the fact that the twist they set up with him, where it's like, I thought he was a Sith luring a bunch of innocent Jedi into his like little I'm gonna get you trap. I looked at Ethan is like basically a little bitch boy. He's like, I'm figuring this stuff out. Oh, he's got a good heart, and his lightsaber turns blue, and I'm like, aw, good boy. But what was funny was that as they got the lightsaber, it was so smart to give him it first. And the thing is, the Sith probably knew that's how they worked, which is why they didn't take them.
Right.
Because I'm like, they specifically had him take, because that's, you know, if you look closely, they move him to the front because he pushes through and he's like, may I have it? And they're like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, that's so smart.
Yeah.
Because what it is, my brain goes, oh, he's a special one, so of course they have him go first for story reasons. But no, when you think about the fact that they're like, these lightsabers could reveal our nature, we probably shouldn't just take one at will.
Right.
And that's what happens. I was like, what?
Right. That could have spoiled the twist right there, or like, in that case, the story could have even gone with, oh, Ethan was the bad one out of all of them, or something the storytelling possibilities, and then also like with that kind of like lightsaber system, you could see someone transition between light and dark, like the one with the purple lightsaber. Like that was
a powerful,
cool. How they did that.
That was great.
This episode hit with so many like different, but way more. I was like, this is so much more interesting than a lot of the stuff. Like, if the sequel trilogy brought anything with this, like the force powers they had were interesting, like stopping like blaster bolts and the like fighting between different places. That was cool stuff to do with the force, but that feels a bit more like abstract. This was like a solid, concrete, I understand it immediately type of thing. I was like, if they came with any energy like this, I would have been.
No, yeah, I would like, because of all the rumors with like rewriting the sequels. If they rewrote them with this kind of element, I'd be fine with it. With just that alone.
Said we're gonna redo the sequels, but we're gonna do it based off of this template. 100%.
Yeah, if it was like, oh, we're gonna redo the sequels, but the sequels are gonna be following episode 5 of Visions. Okay, I'm down.
Yeah.
This is when I kind of felt like, no, Disney did this to sample which studios did want to do this, and I was like, this one wins.
Yeah, 100%.
This is my favorite episode, and it was funny because I looked up on IMDb which episode like ratings. And this is the highest rated one. I was like, I can see why. This is the coolest story. Like it sets up. So it's a short episode with like 4 twists.
Oh yeah, no, like episode 1's my favorite. But like if they did like a series based on episode 5 and we're canning episode 1, I'd be like, cool, I'm there day 1. That's fine. That's cool.
I'm like, this is my favorite, and it's again, this is my favorite. And one I think is the strongest because of like. And again, Production IG, like I know them for a couple of the other shows. And I knew they were going to drop, like, I knew this was going to be good from them, but then they came in, laid down, basically, like, out of this buffet of, like, shows that Disney is sampling. They just lay out, like, a, like, $100, like, ribeye. And they're like, have a bite, come on.
Have a bite.
Right.
Not a meal.
Oh yeah, no, this whole series was like just a buffet. You just
this was the dish that was like actually like a full-on entree that would probably cost me people
Right. Like, here's your prime rib, here's your sirloin, and here's filet mignon. You're gonna
I'm like, this, what do you mean to tell me this is? I'm like, so when I watched this episode, like to describe the vibe, I got up off the couch and started screaming when like when my man's hopped out of because the droid looks evil. It's like this.
Man.
Margrave jumped out, out of the droid. Oh my god!
Out of a freaking droid.
That gave me like that gave me like a combination of vibes from like when Obi-Wan jumped down to meet General Grievous, along with like when Count Dooku like hopped off of his little balcony.
It had
like
that. Also, his outfit was so cool, but he looked like a Sith. And this episode leans so hard into Star Wars. This is what I felt like. This is the most Star Wars anime fusion energy, where this feels so deeply ingrained in Star Wars, where I'm like, this episode pays the homage to the series while also building off of these ideas in a way that
100%. And I love how like the whole episode, like, you know, Margrave seemed like he was the bad guy. They were setting him up to be like, oh, he's just springing a trap. But no.
It's like he's the good guy, and these people that have their faces exposed, because Sith, like, they're the ones that hide behind armor. They're the ones that have like the robotic voices. They're the ones that have the dark colors, and I'm like, this episode. I was like, the totally obvious thing is that this is really good Sith.
And the fact that he knew the entire time too. He was like, yeah, I knew that my Jedi's, you know, kind of like lost contact or whatever. So I was,
yeah, they probably are imposters. So just be prepared for it.
Like he has this whole like cruiser that's just implied to be like full of other people that are helping him out. And you're just like, yeah, no, they were like waiting off somewhere. I was gonna take care of this here.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like, I love the idea. This is a cool plot too. We're trying to gather the Jedi up to make the Jedi Order. I'm like, this is cool. This is great.
And that whole like meeting area, like that, like for one thing, it was like an upside down lightsaber, and for another thing, like when he kicked, and for the other thing, like when he kicked that one Sith in there, and the dude just burned up. I'm like, what was
like?
That?
Holy crap!
I think it's. I was
like, and that was one thing that like cemented that episode's Japanese dub as like my favorite for me. Like when that dude just screams out "Juro," that was like okay.
that was, I like. By the way, so I like the English dub because Ethan sounds like such a wholesome like.
Yeah.
Like I like this English voice so much, and then okay. Let's talk about how cool the little girl is. It Kara or like?
Yes, Kara.
Kara. Yeah, so I keep thinking Am and Kara, and I was like, wait, hold on, they just did Kara twice in the series. But Kara, when she gets a little gray saber and like the people are chasing her, and she's just trying to complete it. When she hops off the speeder bike, it's just wrecking shit. I was like,
man, I was already hyped up when she was like riding backwards, deflecting bolts. I was like, okay.
Like holy crap!
Like you should have just made her a Jedi then.
Right. I was like, wait, she's only force sensitive?
Are you sure? Are you sure about that?
Right.
I even had to ask the lightsabers that only gave him a clear lightsaber. I'm like, lightsaber, are you sure? He's only force sensitive. Are you sure?
Right. And then like the whole the bounty hunter even was sitting there like, oh, she's strong with the force. What the?
What is it? Being strong with the force does not mean that you are aligned to Sith or Jedi. It is that you are strong with the force, and I like that. This felt closer to what Luke was describing in The Last Jedi than anything I've heard, like than anything the movie showed us. Where I was like, this feels like a very great thing. She could be super skilled. She could be super powerful, but she has no sense of like what's what the system is like. So it's interesting when she meets Juro and gets to know him, and she's like, "Oh, hi," and like, like, we gotta get your father back, and we have to like get this order. And her lightsaber turns green because she's got a purpose, and she's aligned to something. I was like, this is so cool.
I mean, shoot, man, that like, and I know it's a hot debated topic, but that even like brings up the argument of like the existence of gray Jedi and that continuity.
That's what I want.
Like,
I think it makes sense. I think the story, the way that how like, okay, so this makes you think, because this episode is so good for me because it made me think about Star Wars lore as a whole and really think about it for a moment. Because I was like, this, because I thought about this, I was like, when Luke was describing Gray Force Jedi, my dad described how like in lore there is the Jedi Order, which has as many Jedi as it really wants, and there could only be 2 Sith, 1 Master, 1 student, or whatever. And I was like, this episode, and I'm like, but I feel like this is like a code and like a transcription for like how things normally work. But we have Darth Maul running around, so I'm like, there is more than 1 Sith, but like there's only. So I'm like, so that means that this order hasn't been like, this isn't like a de facto like justification for the universe. This is how it should be, but it's not always aligned like this. And when Luke is like, burn those precepts, screw the Jedi books, that felt in line with that. And then all of a sudden, this episode came in. And I thought about all of this again.
That was something too. Is that this episode kind of made you feel for the antagonists a bit, because you could tell they genuinely cared about each other. Like whenever they fell in combat, it's like, oh god, no, like not that guy.
It was in the fight, and the choreography was so strong. And then the thing is, there were 7 Sith, and suddenly I felt my brain click and go, this is the Star Wars I would have liked to have seen after The Last Jedi. When you destroy all this order stuff, all this following the code stuff, this is that subversive flavor I would have wanted. Fuck the rules. There can be as many Jedi as Sith, as many as people are out there.
Right. Go to war.
I'm like, but this and the thing is, I'm tired of there only being the master and the apprentice Sith. No, 7 Sith rolling up, and they're like, oh, like beginner Sith trying to stop this Jedi master. I was like,
right. And on top of that, it's like Sith that have broken through that like whole, thing of not trusting each other. Like clearly they trust each other. Clearly they value each other as comrades. And it's like, okay.
It's about being passionate and being like strong and that type of like emotional emotional reaction where you don't care about, where it's like selfish because you're aligned a certain way. This is that Sith energy where I'm like, yes, this is the type of Sith I want to see. Sith that are like, they feel more justified. And you're right, as they were like, no, like when someone dies, they're like trying to back each other up in this fight. And also seeing Ethan kind of like crumple as like Kara, dude. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, when what's his name, like just like with the purple lightsaber just straight up just kicked Ethan. I was like, okay, I mean the good guy. He's just smacking around.
Gave him that bitch boot where he was like, get out. And he's like, ah. And then Kara comes up and is like, I'm taking 3. And the thing is, he's so much bigger than this little girl, but she is fighting so intensely. That's when she became my favorite. I was like, this is how you write this type of character, where she's just coming out like beating people. She's beating ass. Like because she's so small, and her lightsaber is so huge and powerful. But it, like, I don't know, like talking to people who are like raised a Mary Sue, like that crowd. I'm like, okay, but I want to show them this and be like, you wouldn't care if it was this, because this is just that cool. This is that sweet. This is flexing. Where I'm like, I like these characters. I don't care that Ethan's a bit of like a wimp. I'm like, this is cool. She's cool.
Right. Like it feels like if they do a series, which they should. If they do a series, it feels like that might be a growing point for Ethan. Is like, okay, I'm gonna grow out of this.
Yeah, I gotta. Well,
like we need a part 2 to this. If there's season 2 of Visions, we need a part 2.
We don't just need a part 2, man. We just need a straight up series. Just
I mean, hey, I'll take whatever I can get.
And the thing is with this one too, to top it, everything else, because I just remember the magic of watching this one. And I remember thinking about Ethan and like how he used to get kind of a lightsaber, and I was like, how there's some Jedi that are just really good with the Force. And that's their thing, is that they're like, oh, I'm really good at using force push-pull and like are specialized in that. Ethan could be the wizard, basically. Yeah. And Kara is like the sword fighting.
That would be cool if they did something like that. Because they could change up rules and everything, but typically from what I recall from like Star Wars lore and everything, the green lightsaber people are usually better with the Force and the blue lightsaber guys are better with the swords. So it would be cool if they did something like that and like, okay, over time as Ethan gets better with the Force, his lightsaber just turns from blue to green.
With Kara lightsaber turning, I think it turns green. I think it turns green.
It turns green in the episode,
yeah. I wonder if they just got it backwards almost, because it feels like they did.
I mean, if we're not playing by those rules, that's cool. I don't care. That's
the thing. If these are the new rules, I'll follow them because it's clear. And the thing is, I would love a series where like maybe they use the old style lightsabers that are just the color that they happen to be, and we run into characters that we think they're aligned a certain way because they're using a certain color lightsaber, and nope, that's an old model from like this era. And then you get this. I'm like, there's so much you could explore here, and in this 30-minute episode, like roughly 30 minutes.
It's 20 minutes.
The 20 minutes,
like 22 minutes.
22 minutes. And like that means in 22 minutes they've created a short that felt more meaty and more explorable than the majority of like things I've seen recently. Where I'm like, I want to know more. I want to see these characters grow. Jiro looks so cool in that armor. I can't stop gushing with this episode.
I'm gonna say, man, I saw this episode and I was like, man, why hasn't CyberConnect 2 made a Star Wars game?
I don't know, fucking EA.
Yeah, I was like 2 letters.
EA.
EA had a lockdown, and then when Disney finally eased up a little bit with stuff, they're like, nope, nobody else wants to take that on still because EA's got that money. And I'm like, listen, just make a Star Wars Visions fighting game. Let's go,
man.
Yeah,
get CyberConnect to make it. It'll be fine.
And then DLC for the Lego Skywalker Saga game.
Dude.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna marry Kara. Let's say Kara would just be OP. She came off of a speeder bike doing flips. And let's talk about just to emphasize.
Yeah, no. If we could get like a DLC story pack for Star Wars Visions, that's, you know what? Yeah. I'll take it.
But here's the thing too. Another thing I need to gush about for a second too. The pacing of this episode was like perfect. Like it has this very familiar Star Wars type of moment with like the robot that's like really tired and being like, I don't want to go. I'm on break. That felt like a comedic moment out of a Star Wars film, and her being impatient, it gave her character because she's like, we gotta go now, and he's like, no, all right, fine.
Okay.
And like I liked that because it's like a comedic moment. And the thing is, the whole time the Sith on that on the ship, with the Juro and like all of them, in that room, there's tension building because they're getting impatient. They're being like, well, where is it? Where are our sabers?
And the whole time, yeah.
And you think it's a trap for them, where you're like, yeah, they can't defend themselves. Of course there's no sabers. They're just getting ready and they're scouting the place. Your brain is filling in information. You're trying to figure out what's the game here. And as they start to like figure stuff out, and they're like, hey, the Juro's not even here, is he? Or it's like, this is a trick. You're lying. And I loved that. And I was like, this creates drama and intrigue. So while things are slow, okay, so to top this off too.
We got to top this off because we still got 4 more episodes.
Right. It's just such a good episode.
Real fast. As things are getting slow on that with those Jedi, everything's quick on that planet where there's explosions. There's the fact that she's getting over the fact her dad got kidnapped. There's a fast-paced story there that slows down and then catches up to the main plot that's unfolding with the Juro. And I was like, that's really nice. It makes this episode feel like something is happening at all times. Not a lot of shows can do that. And in 22 minutes, where I felt like everything coalesced into a really nice package, that I was impressed thoroughly. Okay, now I'm done.
Are you sure about that? You see what happens when you get 2 anime nerds in the same podcast talking about anime?
Yeah, I should have thought about that.
We talk about one episode for an hour.
But they're good.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say, fun fact, the guy who voices the father in that episode, Kara's father, the sabersmith, is Simu Liu, the guy who plays Shang-Chi.
Oh.
Really?
I didn't even know. I didn't even recognize.
But anyway,
his voice. That was it. That's interesting.
This one actually is also my favorite of Visions. This one is the one where I'm like, okay, if they ever do like a series or like a live action Disney Plus series or film or whatever, I'd be totally on board with this. Honestly, like they didn't, like as Beef said, they didn't rush anything about this. They took all of that time just like developing the characters and like the world viewing and like where they're at in Star Wars, and you did not care at all because you were so invested in all of this stuff happening. And yeah, like the twist with like all of the Sith revealing themselves with like all of their lightsabers activating and it's red. The moment you see red, you're like, oh, wait, and then the guy comes out of the robot like that. This is all just like screaming Star Wars at this point. Like this is when I'm watching Star Wars. It's like when they're able to subvert expectations in such a way that I'm not even anticipating. That like, yeah, it's a possibility, but like I'm not thinking about that. It's like they do such a good job at that. And it's like if they do a series, that's why I say if they do a series on that, I'd so be down to watch this. So yeah, this is my favorite of the bunch by far.
Oh yeah. Love this episode. Love how it just like messes with your expectations of what you normally see in Star Wars. The characters are strong. It was tightly paced. Man, I want to see more from this as well. Come on, give us more. Okay.
And they make this like episode like make sense from a Star Wars perspective. Like it doesn't feel like out of place from Star Wars lore.
Yeah, this feels the most like if this
they introduce something new while having it make sense. Like we're on board with this.
This is a hat trick.
Like again, with like the lightsaber colors like changing based on your perspective in the Force. Like, are you more of a combat fighter or are you more sensible to the Force or whatever? Are you conflicted?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just so cool to think. Because, like, what is yellow? And, like, what is orange? What is yellow? Are you good in both?
But that's purple.
No, purple is the split between light and dark.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true.
So what is yellow then?
And what is white?
And what's white? Like white could be like the gray Jedi or something. It's like there's so many possibilities with it. Yeah. So like, please make a series about that. Just please.
Yeah. This felt the most Star Wars. Like if this was live action, it falls right in line with the other live action ones, if not better. Oh my gosh.
This blew everything out of the water for me.
Mm-hmm.